Hey guys, what is up? And thanks for tuning in. So I have another good video for you today, and hopefully just for one person, at least one person out there gets enough value to hopefully realize that investments and appreciating assets are so powerful, compounding interest is so powerful, and that putting your money in a savings account earning next to nothing, 0.0001%, ain't gonna do you any good. And maybe it has its purposes, short-term purposes and stability, but over the long term, what I'm going to show you hopefully is a wake-up call. Hopefully it's a little mind-blowing, and hopefully it's as powerful for you as it was for me. So what I'm going to show you right here is a compounding interest calculator. We're going to start with $50,000. So say you had 50 grand just sitting in your bank account doing nothing. You put it in your savings account, it's making right now 0.01%, 0.3%. I mean, basically you're earning pennies on the dollar. So we're gonna put in $50,000 here, and we're not gonna add any contributions. Let's do 2.5%, because 2.5% is probably about average long-term of what you'd get on a savings account or maybe a GIC or two. Compound semi-annually for 30 years. And let's see what we get. 105,000 bucks. So you're gonna earn 55 grand on your interest. And while that might seem like a lot, you might say, well, I started with 50 grand and I end up with 105 grand. That's pretty sweet. But what we gotta realize is this is 30 years down the road. Car prices are gonna go up, groceries are gonna go up, utilities are gonna go up, taxes are gonna go up, house pricing is gonna go up, stocks are gonna go up. Pretty much everything is gonna go upwards. And that means you're gonna need more money, your income needs to grow. Essentially, you can't live off the same amount of money in 30 years than you can now. So 50 grand, 100 grand's not gonna do a whole lot for you in 30 years. At 2.5%, that hardly even keeps up with inflation. And actually after taxes, after you get taxed on the interest earned, say you're gonna get taxed 30% on this, and say that would be about $15,000, you're actually losing money in 30 years. Basically, you're losing money after taxes and inflation, and you have less money to spend and buy the same things as you could have bought when you originally invested that 50 grand. But let's do the original 50 grand and let's go 10%. And that's what the average interest or returns have been on the S&P 500 for the last, well, since 1928. Semi-annually and 30 years. So instead of 105 grand, we have 933,000 bucks. You earned 883,000. So to me, that's a pretty big wake-up call. So some people might say stocks are more risky than T-bills or cash or that kind of thing, but it's not necessarily the case. Over the short term, yes. Over the 1 to 5 years, stocks can go up 30%, they can go down 30%, but in the long term, aspect, or if you look in the long-term horizon, stocks have averaged over 10% over the long run. And that's a pretty good, solid, secure return. And that's why so many wealthy investors and banks and institutions invest in stocks, because they appreciate over the long term because they're based on earnings of large, well-known companies, especially the S&P 500. You got the 500 biggest companies in America. Then you have to think, is the risk really about losing in the long term of stocks, or is it about having significantly less money and running out of money in retirement, or after taxes and after inflation, you're pretty much net return with secure cash and bonds? So is that more risky than a solid average historical return of 10%? Say stocks only do 5% over the long term. They still do much better, or they should do much better than cash. So I think I've seen enough benefits to show me that for the long-term wealth building, if I can aim for that 8 to 10% range, it's really going to help me over the long term. And I have about 30 years to retirement, or until I want to start withdrawing this money. So I'm excited to see what compounding interest can do for me. And I hope this video kind of showed you that saving or hoarding too much money at too low of returns can really be disastrous to your wealth building process. And even trying to aim for 4 or 5% returns and something a little safer could still really grow your wealth over the long term much greater than saving too much money could. So hope you like this video, hope you gained something from it, and I'm just starting on YouTube, so please subscribe and like, and I hope you liked it. So see you next time.